that. Uh, Good afternoon. Our lecture for today is regarding your connective tissue. So we mentioned last week that there are four basic types of connective tissue. We're done with epithelial, so our next topic will be connective tissue. So as far as connective tissue is concerned, in contrast to your epithelial cells na made up of many cells, tas konti lang yung supportive structure niya or yung tinatawag nating extracellular material or matrix. In connective tissue, mas lamang yung extracellular matrix compared to dun sa dami ng cells seen in this type of tissue. And this tissue serves to support and protect our tissues and organs, no? So so let's define first what your connective tissue is, no? So your connective tissue is tissue that supports and physically connects tissues and cells together to form your organs, no? Kasi yung organs naman natin are made up of different types of tissue. So yung nagko-connect dun sa iba't ibang klaseng tissue, you call that connective tissue, no? So yung connective tissue is supportive in nature. Ang tawag dun sa mga ganong supportive tissue natin is stroma, no? For supporting as a supporting structure dun sa main cells that perform the actual task of the organ, no? So, yung organ itself, kunyari you are in the liver. Sa liver, the functional cell or the main cell, yung star of the show sa liver natin is your hepatocyte. So, yun yung tawag dun sa main cell in the liver. The supportive structure of that liver is everything else that's found in the liver that helps the hepatocyte perform its function. Another example is your sa skin, di ba? Sa skin mo, the main cell found in your skin is your keratinocytes, di ba? Kasi nagiging keratinized siya uh, for the waterproofing purposes. So your cells on the main cell in your skin is your keratinocyte. And what is the supportive structure for the skin? It's your basement membrane. So ganun so kung tinanong ka kung alin yung parenchyma doon, the parenchyma, which is the main cell, yung bida, is your keratinocyte. The stroma is the supportive cells or structures there, your basement membrane. Okay? So, dito sa connective tissue, parang ganun din, no? Si connective tissue, siya yung nagpo-form ng supportive structure to other cells, no? Your connective tissue consists primarily of extracellular material rather than cells kasi nga, it's more supportive in nature. It gives integrity and gives strength. It gives resistance to shearing and tearing forces because of the presence of its components. So, ano ba yung components nitong connective tissue natin? The components of your connective tissue are your extracellular matrix and your resident cells. So, itong resident cells, sila yung cells that you can see in this type of tissue. Pero sabi natin, di ba, your cells in your connective tissue are not as numerous as your epithelial tissue. Di ba? Sa epithelial tissue, the cells are closely adherent and opposed to one another. So, magkakadikit sila. Dito sa resident cells ng connective tissue, they're floating in the connective tissue substance, yung tinatawag nating extracellular matrix. So, kumbaga sa cytoplasm, yung resident cells, para silang organelles na nakasuspend doon. Okay? So, your resident cells, there are several types. You have your fibroblasts, you have your adipocytes, your macrophages, your plasma cells, and your leukocytes. So, we will discuss that one by one later on, no? Dito muna tayo dun sa tinatawag nating extracellular matrix, no? So, the extracellular matrix is the substance in which your cells are suspended dito sa connective tissue. So, there are two types of things found in the extracellular matrix as a whole. The ground substance, ito yung parang cytosol. Kumbaga sa cytoplasm, ito yung cytosol. And then, in the cytosol, there are uh, protein fibers floating in that extracellular matrix also. There are three types of fibers that are seen in your extracellular matrix. It's their collagen fibers, your reticular fibers, and your elastic fibers. So, i-discuss natin yung pagkakaiba nitong three different fibers na to later on, no? So, you know the components of your connective tissue, your ECM and your resident cells. ECM is divided into ground substance and protein fibers. So, yung protein fibers para silang alambre. That gives strength para silang cytoskeleton. Kumbaga, yung kung analogy mo with the cell kanina, uh, para siyang cytoskeleton. That gives structure. No? It gives strength and tensile strength and rigidity and resistance to shearing. Okay? So, your connective tissue is actually derived from the second germ layer, no? So, yung second germ cell layer natin, pag tayo kasi nabuo, Kunyari, your parents had copulated, nabuo nagkaroon ng fertilized egg, no? So, your fertilized egg, uh, fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube. Yung egg mo, di ba, dadalhin siya to the uterus. Tapos sa uterus siya mag-i-implant. So, yung egg mo na yon, ay, sorry, yung fertilized egg na yon, your zygote becomes a fetus in the uterus. But before it does that is mag-i-implant siya sa uterus. And when it implants, while while that's happening, no, the cell is continuously dividing. So eventually, it will develop three characteristic layers. No, it will develop three characteristic layers: your endoderm, your mesoderm, and your ectoderm. So ito yung tinatawag nating trilaminar germ disc. Okay. So this trilaminar germ disc or yung tinatawag nating germ cell layers, uh, meron sa, meron siyang tatlong cell layers, no? Kaya siya trilaminar kasi tatlo. So tatlong cell layers yung makikita sa germ disc mo. So dito sa image, as you can see, meron tayo, the outermost one is your ectoderm. So ectoderm, ito yung kulay blue. The color blue here is your ectoderm, which forms yung outer covering ng skin mo, outer covering ng katawan mo eventually, diba? It will form your hair, your nails, your skin, and also it will develop into your nervous system. Okay? So, next. So, before tayo mag-mesoderm, kasi yun yung topic natin for today, you have your endoderm. Sa endoderm naman, this one is your internal, mostly your internal organs, no? Digestive system, the accessories of the digestive tract, yung liver, pancreas, and then as well as your lungs. Diba? Those are your internal organs you see at the center of your body sa may bandang thorax. No? So, the endoderm, yun yung nasa gitna. So, ito yung kulay yellow dito. Okay? And then, the middle layer, is your mesoderm, yung color red here, dito sa image, no? So, the red one is your mesoderm layer. Your mesoderm layer give rise to all of your connective tissue. Okay? So, your connective tissue includes your circulatory system. So, yung blood mo, the epithelial layers of your lungs, yung lungs mo is also made up of elastic fiber kasi kaya niya mag-distend at mag-recoil back into original shape. And then your skeletal system and muscular system is also considered as subsets of your connective tissue, no? So dito sa mesoderm manggagaling yung mga connective tissues that we will be discussing. Okay? So this mesoderm, itong circulatory system, uh, connective tissue. This mesoderm, the cells in your mesoderm eventually proliferate and infiltrate other organs, no? So, hindi siya magsistay lang dyan. There will be mesoderm found in mixed with your other organs. And yun yung point niya kasi, di ba sabi natin, the purpose of your connective tissue is to support the structure of other organs to link your tissues with one another in order to form to form the actual organs natin. No? So makikita mo talaga yung mesoderm-derived tissues everywhere in the body. Okay? Pero pag sinabi sa yung connective tissue, dapat alam mo that it's derived from the second germ cell layer, which is the mesoderm. Okay? So, doon na tayo sa parts ulit ng ating connective tissue, di ba? Discuss natin si extracellular matrix, which is made up of ground substance and protein fibers, as well as your resident cells. So, una nating i-discuss si ground substance. Okay? So, your ground substance is an highly hydrated, amorphous complex that fills the space between cells and the fibers in connective tissue. So, sabi natin, di ba, ECM is divided into your ground substance and your fibers. Okay? So, sa extracellular matrix mo kasi, your ground substance na yon is highly hydrated. So, ibig sabihin, this is mainly watery. And it's amorphous, no? So, para siyang, wala siyang definite shape. It's something that fills the space, no, in between. So, kumbaga, parang kang nagbuhos ng something, kunyari, di ba, meron kang jar of, kunyari, may pebbles ka dyan, tapos nilagyan mo ng water sa loob. Yung water, siya yung pupuno dun sa mga spaces in between the pebbles, no? So ganun yung parang idea with this ground substance, no? Except the ground substance does not contain just water, it also contains these three substances, your glycosaminoglycans, your proteoglycans, and multi-adhesive glycoproteins na hindi na natin tutoksikin kung anong components nila. Kasi dahil i-discuss nyo naman yan in your second year sa biochemistry. Okay? So, what does the ground substance do? It allows for diffusion of small molecules kasi it's highly hydrated, no? 'Di ba? Uh, sabi natin, you have your watery environment. So, magkakaroon ng diffusion of small molecules. It also acts as a lubricant as well as a barrier against invaders, no? So, as far as ground substance is concerned, 'di ba, sabi natin, it's a amorphous complex of water and these three substances, no? So, kapag tinanggal mo tong tatlong substances na to, ang natitira na lang doon is your interstitial fluid, okay? So, kapag water lang yung kinakount mo within the ground substance, you call it interstitial fluid. So, the water within the ground substance that provides metabolic support to cells and serves as the medium for diffusion is your interstitial fluid kasi as you can derive from the name, inter is between and then stitial, so tissue, this refers to your tissue. So, this is the tissue, this is the fluid or the water that you can find in between your tissues. Kaya siya tinawag na interstitial fluid. Okay? So, kapag yung interstitial fluid, sinamahan mo na nitong glycosaminoglycans, proteoglycans, and multi-adhesive glycoproteins, you put them together, you call that now your ground substance. Okay? So, yung ground substance, yun yung watery amorphous complex na nakikita mo in your connective tissue. Okay? Sa connective tissue, as we mentioned, we also find some cells. No? So there are several different types of cells that you will observe. The main cell that we will observe is actually your fibroblast or your fibrocyte. So pag mas active yung cell in its activity, in doing its function, in synthesizing your connective tissue, you call it a fibroblast. Kapag mas inert siya, you call it a fibrocyte. Okay? We also have other cells we will discuss, plasma cell, adipocyte, your macrophages and your mast cells, and as well as some of the WBCs we will be encountering. No? So, dun muna tayo sa start of the show. So, kapag tinanong ka kung ano yung main cell or yung parenchyma ng connective tissue, the answer is your fibroblast or your fibrocyte. Okay? So, because your fibroblast is the one that produces and maintains most of the tissue's extracellular components. Okay? So, itong fibroblast, sila yung gumagawa ng ground substance. Sila yung gumagawa ng elastic collagen reticular fibers. So, everything else to make your connective tissue is practically made by your fibroblasts. Okay? And your fibroblasts actually originate from mesenchymal cells. So, itong mesenchymal cells is derived from, ito yung uh, cells galing sa mesoderm na nag-migrate to other tissue, no? So, yung mesenchymal cells galing sa mesoderm eventually will become your fibroblasts, no? So, what is the structure of these fibroblasts? Pag nakita nyo sila under the microscope, you will see that the fibroblasts appear to have a large active nucleus. So, ito yung mga yun. These are your fibroblasts, okay? And an eosinophilic cytoplasm that tapers off in both directions along the axis of the nucleus. That's why it's described as spindle-shaped or fusiform. So, sabi nito, eosinophilic. So, eosin is actually a stain, no? So, eosinophilic, ang stain na to is, kapag ginamit mo siyang pang stain ng tissue, this is mostly red or pink, no? Pero pag may nakita ka naman na statement na ang cell is described as basophilic, this is more of blue or purple in description, no? So, sasabihin naman natin kung ano yung expected finding, no? So, kapag eosinophilic, ang description, ibig sabihin reddish or pinkish ang cytoplasm, as you can see here. Okay? Ayan, dito. Mas kita dito. So, this one is your nucleus, large and active, and then you have your cytoplasm that is supposedly tapering, no? So, panipis siya ng panipis, ganyan yung, ay sorry. So, panipis siya ng panipis. So, ganyan yung nucleus. And then, it tapers off on both ends. Okay? So, mas manipis yung dalawang side. Mukha siyang spindle. Mukha siyang, kaya siya dinescribe also as fusiform. Okay? So, ganun yung structure ng fibroblasts natin. So, that is your first type of connective tissue cell. The main type of connective tissue cell that you will see in all of your connective tissue, which is your fibroblast. Okay? So, ulitin natin yung sinabi ko kanina. Pag fibroblast, mas active. Pag fibrocyte, mas less active. Okay? So, dito yon yung kanina. Okay? So, kasi nga, makikita mo, yung cytoplasm ng fibroblast is mas malaki. So, ibig sabihin, there's more activity going on. Sa fibrocyte, this is more of an inert state. Kapag na-activate siya, magiging, eventually, siyempre, mag-expand yung cytoplasm yan as the cell starts to produce more and more substances. Okay? Next, the next type of connective tissue cell we'll discuss is your adipocytes. So your adipocytes are also known as your fat cells. Ang function nila is to store fat, no? So syempre, when we eat food in excess, no? Uh, For example, nagkumain ka ngayon, tapos, ah, mag, ah, tapos, nagmerienda ka pa ulit, tapos nag-dinner ka, tapos nag-midnight snack ka pa. So, sobra-sobra na yung energy mo. So, na ilalagay yun ng katawan natin, no? Hindi mo naman siya may-suspend all in one day. So, in this case, your body will store the extra energy in the form of triglycerides that they will put inside your fat cells, no? So, it's a storage form of energy, no? So kaya and in the same vein, 'di ba, kapag ikaw naman ay nag-intermittent fasting or kahit nag-fasting ka for a prolonged period, unang uubusin ng cells mo yung blood sugar. Pag bumaba na yung blood sugar, it will try to use your muscle storage form your glycogen, and then pag naubos na yung nasa muscle glycogen mo, then your body will start burning fat, no? So yung fat mo is an storage form of energy. Kaya nga yung mga long distance swimmers natin, 'di ba? Hindi sila mapapayat kasi kailangan nila ng long-term energy source, no? So usually, meron silang konting bilbil just in case kailangan nila ng energy kasi yung mga long distance swimmers, 'di ba, sila yung mga tumatawid na English Channel or tumatawid sila ng dagat via swimming lang. So pag ganun, hindi sapat yung energy mo na kinain mo ng buong araw na yun. Kailangan meron kang naka-imbak para kayanin mo yung long distance swimming. Okay? Your adipocytes are also involved in hormonal secretion, no? Actually, your fat cells can serve as precursor for estrogen and other hormones. Pero syempre, that's beyond our scope na. We're just talking about histology here. So your adipocytes or your fat cells can be seen as single, or in groups, no? Single. Pwedeng isa lang, pwedeng maramihan. So, pwedeng pa isa-isa na may floating na fat cells dyan, just for storage lang ng certain tissue. Pwedeng as a group, kunyari sa mammary glands mo, marami adipocytes. Sa may harap ng sa may tiyan mo, marami adipocytes sa may abdomen kasi uh, it serves as protection against for your organs against trauma. Okay? So, there are two types of adipocytes. Meron tayo ng white adipose and your brown adipose, no? So, itong white adipose is actually, when you look at it grossly, kunyari, uh, nag-autopsy kayo, kunyari may cadaver dyan or may person na bumanaw na, tapos binuksan nyo siya, when you autopsy, or kahit pag may operation kayo, kunyari, nag-a-assist ka ng, kunyari, surgery, cesarean section, or kahit appendectomy, bubuksan nyo yung balat, di ba? Tapos makikita nyo doon, sa ilalim ng balat is your subcutaneous tissue. So, subcutaneous tissue, makikita mo, your fats are actually color yellow, no? Color yellow siya in nature. And then, ito yung tinatawag na white adipose kapag sinilip siya sa microscope. Meanwhile, you have your brown adipose, which has a darker brown tint. Wala lang ako nakuha ng picture nun. Pero the one that we will encounter mostly is your white adipose tissue. Okay? Yung brown adipose is mostly seen in your babies kasi the babies need thermoregulation, no? So, your brown adipose is actually better than your white adipose in terms of heat production, no? So, yung mga babies kasi madali silang magkaroon ng hypothermia pag hindi na-regulate yung temperature nila. So, meron silang stores of brown adipose tissue para madaling i-burn at madaling mag-produce ng heat kapag binurn siya para thermoregulate yung mga infants. Okay? So, anong itsura ng adipocytes under the microscope? You will see white spaces like this, no? So, ano tong white spaces na to? That white space denotes a previous fat droplet, no? Hindi siya fat droplet mismo because yung fat during the processing of your specimens, ng mga adipocyte specimens natin, yung fat itself gets dissolved out. So, ang naiiwan is yung structure na lang niya sa paligid. Naiiwan, nagka-cast yung structure niya, pero yung fat itself is not gonna be there because of tissue processing. Nare-remove yung fat droplets mismo. Pero during the process of fixation and fixing your specimen onto the slide, naiiwan naman yung structure. So you know that this entire empty space that you see over here was once occupied by fat. Okay, so imagine nyo there is fat inside the fat droplet, the white spaces. No, so this space was once made up of one large fat droplet. No, and then, dahil sobrang dami ng fat na ini-store sa loob ng cell, actually, pupush niya sa gilid yung nucleus. So, the adipocyte nucleus is compressed. Pati yung cytoplasm, nako-compress siya and it's reduced to a peripheral rim. So, itong paligid na to, ito lang yung cytoplasm niya, yung paligid na yan. Naiipit sila dahil sa sobrang laki ng fat droplet. Pati yung nucleus niya napupunta sa gilid because of the fat droplet, no? Kaya nga, ang appearance ng adipocyte is referred to as a signet ring. Kasi di ba yung mga singsing nung sinaunang panahon, hindi na uso yung ganitong style, pero nung sinaunang panahon, di ba, you have your rings like this, tapos may malaki siyang bato or parang engraving sa ibabaw. So you call that a signet ring, no? You can also call it chicken wire appearance kasi meron kang mga empty spaces, tapos parang siyang wire na magka-criss-cross dyan. And when you look at it under the microscope. Okay? So, after your adipocyte, you have your macrophages. So, itong macrophages are highly developed phagocytic cells found in tissue. Okay? So, itong phagocytic cells na to, meron siyang equivalent actually in the blood, no? Ang equivalent niya sa blood natin is what you call your monocytes. Okay? So, monocytes in the blood are phagocytic cells. So, malaki silang cells that are able to undergo phagocytosis. So, pwede silang mag-engulf ng microorganisms and other substances. Yung monocyte na yon in the blood, they will cross the venules or yung small veins natin. They will cross the wall of those small veins to go to the tissue. And then, pagdating nila sa tissue, doon na sila magdi-differentiate at magmamature. Okay? So, anong ginagawa ng macrophages in the peripheral tissue? They specialize in turnover of dead cells, tissue debris, and other particulate material. So, for example, nagkaroon ka ng sugat, nagkaroon ng infection, so mamamaga yun. So, in the inflammatory or inflammation response, di ba? Papasok doon yung mga white blood cells mo, lalabanan niya yung infection, eventually, magre-resolve. So, matatapos na yung pamamaga. So, anong nang may iwan doon? May iwan doon yung debris, kung ano yung kung sila naglaban, may iwan doon yung mga patay na cells, na namatay dahil sa infection, may iwan doon yung mga white blood cells na lumaban doon sa infection. So what the macrophages do? What does the macrophages do? Your macrophages serve as the cleanup crew, no? So, ang ginagawa niya, nililinis niya para matanggal na yung mga debris, matanggal na yung mga dead cells na namatay doon, matanggal na kung ano man yung particulate material para eventually the cell will return to normal. Wala na yung mga bakas ng neutrophils na lumaban sa bacteria, wala nang bakas ng bacteria, wala nang bakas ng mga dead cells na namatay doon dahil na-infect sila. Okay? So, yun yung purpose ng macrophages in your peripheral cells, no? Ay, peripheral tissue, no? So, your macrophages, based on which peripheral tissue it's located, minsan iba-iba yung name niya. So, di-discuss natin yun later on. Pero yung general structure niya is similar to your monocytes. Meron siyang kidney-shaped or indented na nucleus. Okay? So, meron siyang parang kidney shape. So, as you can see here, sorry, you have your macrophage, diba? Ayan o, this letter M. Kita mo yung indented na nucleus niya. Okay? So, your macrophages, actually, ito yung itsura niya under the transmission electron microscope. Sorry. So, ganito yung itsura niya under the transmission electron microscope. So, this is the nucleus. Diba? You have your nucleus over here. And what you can observe regarding the cytoplasm, regarding your cell membrane is hindi siya regular. So kasi yung macrophage mo is a phagocytic cell. So pwede siya mag-form ng pseudopodia if it wants to engulf something, no? Another thing that you can observe is the presence of your lysosomes and phagosomes dito sa ating macrophage, no? Kasi it's able to engulf other substances. So the cytoplasm tends to have debris or material related to whatever it just ingested. Marami rin siyang lysosomes kasi yung lysosomes ang ginagamit ng macrophages in order to digest whatever it has phagocytosed. Okay? So, yun yung macrophages natin. So, sabi natin, the macrophages have different names depending on the location where it is found. No? So, here are some of the names that you have to remember. No? So if you see your macrophage in the blood, sorry, if you see it in the blood, ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya nakakatawid sa venues, no? So nasa blood pa lang siya, hindi pa siya naging macrophage. Precursor pa lang, you call that a monocyte. Kapag nakatawid na siya, and you see it somewhere in your connective tissue, in your bone marrow, in your cavities, you call that a macrophage na, okay? Pero kung there's a specific organ in which you found your macrophage, iba yung pangalan niya depende sa organ na yun, no? So if you found your macrophage in the liver, you call it a Kupffer cell. If you found your macrophage in the central nervous system, namely your brain or spinal cord, you call that a microglial cell. If you find your macrophage in your skin, you call it a Langerhans cell. If you find it in the lymph nodes or the spleen, you call it a dendritic cell. And if you find it in bone, you call it an osteoclast, no? So, another function pala of your macrophages that I forgot to mention is antigen processing and presentation. So, itong antigen processing and presentation, basically that's what it says, no? So, uh, your antigen is something that you find in your pathogens. For example, may bacteria na pumasok. Si bacteria na pumasok, may suot siyang ID. Okay? So, pagkatapos siyang batayin ng macrophage, kukunin niya yung ID ng bacteria na kinain niya. Ipe-present niya yon dun sa ibang immune cells. So, present niya sa T helper cell, sa B cell, papakilala niya sa kanila, ito yung bacteria na pumasok nung isang araw. Sa susunod, dapat kilala niyo na siya kasi napakita ko na siya sa inyo. So, ganun yung purpose ng antigen presentation nitong macrophages natin. Okay? Your macrophages can also fuse together to form yung tinatawag nating multinucleated giant cells. No? So, pag nagsama-sama sila, they can form a multinucleated giant cell. This happens in pathologic conditions. An example of which is when you have tuberculosis. No? So, pag sinilip mo yung lungs ng may tuberculosis, sometimes you see these multinucleated giant cells, so malalaking macrophages sila na nagsama-sama. Okay? And the purpose of that is to wall off your TB bacterium. Okay? So next, tapos na tayo sa macrophages, you have your mast cells. Which is your mast cells participate in inflammatory reactions. So kasi nagre-release siya ng histamine and vasoactive mediators. So ano bang point ng pagre-release ng histamine at nitong vasoactive mediators? So ang purpose kasi nitong mga mediators na to is to dilate your blood vessels and to allow substances to cross your blood vessels easily para makapunta yung mga cells responding to infection to the site na kailangan niyang puntahan. No? So, ang ginagawa ng vasoactive mediators mo, pinapaluwag niya yung lining for example, nung yung venules mo, yung capillaries mo, para yung mga white blood cells in your bloodstream, pwede silang lumabas ng blood vessel at magpunta doon sa target site of your tissue. So one of the things the cells that release the mediators is you call them mast cells, no? So they release histamine, they release vasoactive mediators that serves to increase the permeability of your blood vessels as well as dilate them. So it promotes inflammation para madaling makapag-respond yung katawan mo, madali niyang mapatay yung bacteria, no? So it is used against, it's activated against microbial invasion. Okay, so your mast cells are particularly prevalent in the skin kasi 'di ba sa skin is your first line of defense. So kailangan may mast cells ka doon para pag kailangang mag-induce ng inflammation para mapatay yung bacteria, may magre-release ng vasoactive mediators, no? It's also seen in your gastrointestinal tract, in the lining of your body cavities, and around your blood vessels, no? So, key thing to remember regarding your mast cells, because it releases histamine and other vasoactive mediators, kapag naging overactive naman siya, you can have your allergic reactions, your anaphylaxis, your asthma, your allergic rhinitis, no? Kaya nga, di ba, pag meron kang allergies, you take antihistamine. For example, your cetirizine. Your cetirizine is a second generation antihistamine. So, kasi yung antihistamine mo is also responsible for the manifestations you feel in allergic reactions, no? So, kapag medyo overactive yung mast cells mo, pwede namang mangyari din yun, okay? So, how do your mast cells produce your histamine? Ang gagawin niya, magde-degranulate siya. Kasi pag tinignan mo yung structure ng mast cells mo under the microscope, let's zoom in. So, here are your mast cells. Don't know if you can see, pero meron siyang maliliit na dots. Okay? Ayan o, meron siyang maliliit na dots. Because the cytoplasm of your mast cell is very rich in granules. Okay? And these granules are the ones that uh, contain your histamine, contain your vasoactive mediators that promotes inflammation, that promotes this hypersensitivity or allergic reactions, no? So, makita mo yung structure niya when you viewed under the microscope, the transmission electron microscope. Maraming talagang granules itong cytoplasm ng mast cells, no? Okay? Here's the nucleus. Tapos yung cytoplasm niya is filled with granules para kapag biglang kailangan, it can release it can degranulate and release the substances inside of those granules quickly and in large amounts. Okay? So anong structure niya when seen under the microscope? The cells are oval shaped with extensive cytoplasm. As you can see, yung cytoplasm niya makapal. Hindi kagaya nung sa adipocyte kanina, di ba? Peripheral rim na lang. Dito sa mast cells, makapal yung cytoplasm. And it's packed with large basophilic granules. So basophilic, sinabi natin, more on blue and purple. So ganito yung itsura niya actually. Mostly, no? Kapag sinilip mo, this is, yung granules niya are large and basophilic. Okay? So after your mast cells, we also have something called plasma cells. So your plasma cells are cells derived also from blood cells, no? Kung kanina si macrophage is derived from your monocytes, your plasma cells naman are derived from your B lymphocytes. And your plasma cells are responsible for the production of antibodies, okay? So antibodies yung proteins na pinoproduce ng katawan natin para panlaban sa infection, sa bacteria, no? And your viruses or anything actually. So your antibodies, basta foreign substance, your body can probably produce antibodies against it, no? So your plasma cells are relatively large, ovoid spherical, uh, are relatively large ovoid cells with a spherical nucleus. So ito yung nucleus, yung plasma cell. Ito yung plasma cell mo. Okay? As you can see, that's the plasma cell. So anong itsura ng nucleus muna? Meron tayong tinatawag na clock face or cartwheel nuclei. Parang may nagka-cartwheel o kaya may parang clock face dyan, no? So that one, kaya siya tinawag na cartwheel or clock face nuclei because there is alternating light and dark areas. Okay, so dark areas you call heterochromatin, light areas you call euchromatin. Okay, so may alternating light and dark areas kaya siya naging cartwheel or clock face nuclei. Okay, as far as the cytoplasm of your plasma cells are concerned, your cytoplasm is usually basophilic. So, ito, ibang stain yung ginamit dito, kaya siya nagmukhang pink. Pero your cytoplasm is usually basophilic. At ito yung tatandaan nyo dyan. There is a pale, unstained area which contains your Golgi zone. Ano yung Golgi zone? So, Golgi zone, dun makikita yung well-developed Golgi apparatus as well as rough endoplasmic reticulum of your plasma cells. Okay? So, yung plasma cells kasi natin, if you recall its function, it's for the production of antibodies. And your antibodies are made up of protein. So, what makes your protein? It's your ribosomes. And these ribosomes are usually bound to your rough endoplasmic reticulum. So here in these plasma cells, you have a well-developed rough endoplasmic reticulum and also a very well-developed Golgi apparatus. Kasi pag nagawa mo na yung protein mo for your antibodies, you will now package them para kapag i-release mo na, para pwede mong i-release yung antibodies later on, no? So as you can see, may correlation yung structure nung plasma cell ay structure ng yung kung aling organelle yung well-developed sa plasma cell, no? Kaya natin diniscuss din yung cell mismo, no? So, in plasma cell, since gamit na gamit yung rough ER at Golgi apparatus for its function, they have well-developed the features of your plasma cell also reflect that, no? Meron silang tinatawag na Golgi zone. Okay? So, in this image, makikita nyo rin yung other plasma cells natin, no? So here, ayan o. Lahat sila, yung mga may arrow, those are your plasma cells. So your plasma cells, sabi, meron tayong nucleus, na cartwheel, may alternating dark and light areas, and then meron siyang pale areas in the cytoplasm, di ba? And you call that area as the Golgi zone. Okay? So next. So, tapos na tayo sa plasma cell. Now, let's go to the leukocytes, which are the wandering cells in your connective tissue. So, yung everything else, pag nagpunta na sila sa connective tissue, hindi na sila aalis doon. Ah, hindi na sila babalik sa kung saan sila nanggaling, kung sa blood man yan or whatever, no? Here, you have your wandering cells. Itong wandering cells natin, your leukocytes, also known as your white blood cells, are derived from circulating blood. So, these white blood cells mostly function in connective tissue for only a few hours. Tapos, mag-undergo na sila ng apoptosis. Excuse me, sir. Apoptosis is also known as programmed cell death. So, your programmed cell death, or also known as your apoptosis, basically, this is cell suicide. So, bakit naman sila magsusuicide? Kasi, nagawa na nila yung function nila and they're probably too damaged to go on, no? So, for example, you had a cat na-infect si sugat, tapos, syempre, ang gagawin ng white blood cells mo, lalabanan niya kung anumang bakterya yung pumasok sa sugat. Eventually, the wound will heal, no? Pero, syempre, dahil naging war zone yung kung saan naglaban si leukocytes at yung bacteria, eventually, may iwan na si leukocytes doon sa site na yun. They will undergo cell suicide para hindi na madamay yung surrounding cells, no? Para maging normal na lang sila. And then eventually, your macrophages will come to clean up the mess. So, your leukocytes, kapag napunta na sila sa peripheral tissue, they do not go back to the circulation. Kapag napunta na sila sa peripheral tissue, doon na sila mamamatay so kung saan sila napunta. Okay? So how do your leukocytes get there? They extravasate in a similar manner to your macrophages, no? Dadaan sila between the epithelial cells of your venules. And this process is the one that happens during inflammation, no? Sa inflammation, ang nangyayari, uh, lumuluwag yung pagitan ng endothelial cells natin, yung lining ng ating blood vessels, lumalabas yung leukocytes, di ba? So, pag nakalabas na sila, nakarating na sila sa target site, gagawin na nila yung function nila and then eventually commit apoptosis in the area. Okay? So that's the last one of your leukocytes, no? Of your cells found in your connective tissue, no? So your leukocytes. Sila lang yung wandering, the other ones are permanent residents, no? Okay? So now let's go to the last part of the components of your not the components of your connective tissue, yung tinatawag natin connective tissue fibers. So fiber, ibig sabihin para silang sinulid, para silang alambre. Okay? So pwede silang mag-bundle para silang isang mahabang parang silang lubid, pwede rin silang mag-form ng sheets, di ba? For example, di ba yung sinulid, pag pinagsama-sama mo, pwede kang mag-form ng mas makakapal na sinulid, mas makapal na tali, pwede mag-form ng lubid. Pwede mo rin naman silang gawing sheet para gumawa ka ng, di ba, pag naghahabi naman, pwede mo siyang gawing kumot or kilt or damit or whatever. So, ganon yung connective tissue fibers in this regard, no? So itong connective tissue fibers natin is actually mostly made up of a protein called collagen, no? So collagen is a protein that is a key element of all connective tissue. It's the most abundant type of protein found in the human body, no? So itong collagen na to, seen siya in all three types of your connective tissue fibers, no? So it's a family of proteins. So there are actually 28 different types of collagen molecules, no? So yung protein itself is called collagen. Tapos pag pinagsama-sama mo yung collagen, pwede siya mag-form ng fibers. Oh. So this one, I'm talking about the molecule that makes up the fibers first, no? So your collagen molecules are able to form extracellular fibers, sheets, and networks that are extremely strong and resistant to normal shearing and tearing forces. So, kunyari, di ba? Nagpapagawa ka ng bahay. Pag nagpagawa ka ng bahay, kailangan may bakal. Hindi pwedeng maglalagay ka lang ng alambre dyan. Ay, maglalagay ka lang ng hollow blocks. Tapos na yon, pipilapan mo ng semento. No, kailangan meron ka pa ng bakal. Parang siya yung, ganun yung point nitong, itong mga fibers found in your connective tissue. No? So, they increase the resistance of your tissue. It makes them stronger, no? So, here are the different types. So, ito pa pala, I forgot to mention. Your collagen is also produced by fibroblasts. So, pag tinanong ka kung sinong gumawa ng something, tas ang tanong is sa connective tissue, the answer is probably fibroblast. Sinong gumawa ng extracellular matrix? It's probably fibroblast. Sinong gumawa ng ground substance? It's probably fibroblast, no? Unless lang may ibang tinanong sa'yo, for example, sinong gumagawa ng antibodies? That's plasma cell. Pero pag di mo alam ang sagot mo na lang is fibroblast. Kasi most of the things found in your connective tissue is made by your fibroblast. Okay? So here are the different types of collagen. Actually, there are 28 different types of collagen, pero hindi na natin tutoksikin. Ang tatandaan nyo lang is these four, okay? So the first one, your collagen type 1, is the one found in your skin and your bones, okay? So skin and bones. Collagen type 2 is the one found in your cartilage. Collagen type 3 is seen in reticular fibers. Di-discuss natin to later on. And collagen type 4 is the one that is seen in your basement membrane. Okay? So, ano mo tatandaan? Collagen type 1 is bone, di ba? And skin. So, gawin mo skin. So, mas maalala mo sa collagen type 1 is skin and bone. Okay? Your collagen type 2 is for cartilage. Okay? So, cartilage is collagen type 2. Collagen type 3 is reticular fibers. So, para hindi nyo na makalimutan. And then, your basement membrane is for syllables. So, yun na lang yung tandaan nyo, no? Kasi, para hindi na kayo mahirapan mag-memorize. Everything else, hindi nyo na kailangan i-memorize yan. Okay? So, tsaka nyo na i-memorize kapag nasa second year, third year na kayo. Kung kailangan man sa subject. Okay? So, yung collagen mo, fibrils, so, di ba long chain of protein siya? Pag pinagsama-sama mo yun, you can make your collagen fibers, no? So ito, group of collagen molecules na to, no? It's the most abundant structural component of connective tissue. It adds flexibility with high tensile strength that allows your tissue to be resistant to shearing and tearing forces. Okay? So the type of collagen fiber you see in the type of collagen you see in collagen fibers is your collagen type 1, 2, and 3. So anong itsura niya in tissue para mo masabing collagen fiber? They are wavy structures. Okay? Okay. Pag may nakita ka mga ganyan, for example here, no? Ito mga color pink. Ayan. This is collagen fiber. This one is the image under transmission electron microscope, no? So, ito, collagen fiber yan. Collagen yan lahat. Ganito rin yun. Kaso, pag kinat mo to, in between, tapos view mo siya from this end, ganito yung itsura niya. Okay? So, pag pinagsama-sama mo sila, parang isipin mo yung balisting ting, di ba? Pag hinati mo. Ganon. Pag pinagsama-sama mo sila, you make one whole wallisting thing. Ganon yung ganon yung i-imagine itong collagen fibers. Okay, so ganon siya. Okay, so under transmission electron microscope, they appear as bundles, no? Of fine thread-like subunits. Kasi nga, para siyang thread, para siyang sinulid, para siyang alambre. Okay? So that's your collagen fibers. The second type of fibers we'll discuss is your reticular fibers. So sabi natin reticular because these fibers are mostly made up of type 3 collagen, no? So these reticular fibers serve as supporting framework for various tissues and organs, namely your immune and lymphoid tissue. You can also see this in the liver and some other organs, no? So what do your reticular fibers do? It provides early mechanical strength to newly synthesized extracellular matrix proteins in the initial stage of wound healing. For example, di ba? Your skin is made up of type 1 collagen, di ba sabi natin? Tapos nagkaroon ka ng sugat. So pag nagkasugat ka, anong mangyayari? Siyempre, magkakaroon ng inflammation. Eventually, pag naggumana na yung katawan mo, magsasara na yung sugat eventually. Kasi gagana yung clotting mechanism, etc. So when you are trying to repair or remake something, your damaged tissue, hindi siya automatic na pag ni-repair siya, collagen type 1 agad yung ipapampalit ng cells mo. Una, maglilay muna ng groundwork, which is made up of your reticular fibers, na siya magiging parang basis bago nila gawin yung final form na collagen type 1 to restore the skin to its normal condition. No? So, in the initial stages, reticular fibers muna siya. Tapos kapag patapos na yung wound healing, tsaka na siya i-replace ng mas stronger na type 1 collagen. Okay? So how do you see these reticular fibers under the microscope? They look like black thread-like fibers that appear in a mesh-like pattern. No? So bakit color black? Because you cannot visualize these reticular fibers using ordinary stains. You have to use a different type of stain. You use a silver stain. No? The silver stain, uh, the silver will stain yung reticular fibers mo. Kaya nga yung tawag sa reticular fibers are argyrophilic. Kasi argentum is silver. So, mahilig sa silver, it's argyrophilic. Okay? Your collagen type 3 also is rich in sugars. No? So iba rin yung reactions nito kasi compared to sa collagen type 1 na pag in-stain mo, magko-color pink siya, no? So, kaya iba yung ginagamit na stains for your reticular fibers. Okay? So next, you have your elastic fibers. So these elastic fibers are fibers that allow the tissue in which you find this to be stretched or distended and return to their original shape. So it gives elasticity, distensibility to that tissue where you find these elastic fibers. For example, is your lungs, di ba? Your lungs, by the act of breathing, it will expand and contract, no? So, kahit wala kang ginagawa, that is happening. So, these elastic fibers allows the lungs to expand and then return to its normal state, no? So, your elastic fibers actually are composed of special proteins called elastin and fibrillin, which exists in a stretchable conformation, no? So, itong dalawang to yung nagbibigay ng elasticity to your elastic fibers, no? So, how do you so what is the appearance of your elastic fibers under the microscope? You actually you will observe that these elastic fibers are typically thinner than collagen fibers. So, if you can see this image over here, yung mga pink na makakapal, that's collagen. Okay? Itong mga parang dark purple, dark pink na medyo blackish na lines over there, yun yung elastic fibers, no? So, mas manipis siya compared to your collagen fibers, and they're usually arranged in a branching pattern, more of haphazard, and minsan, they are arranged in sheets called lamellae. So, for example here, this is an this is a sample from your aorta. So your aorta is the biggest artery found in your body. It's very elastic kasi kailangan niyang mag-resist ng high amounts of blood pressure, no? So yung blood pressure mo kasi napakataas sa aorta. So kailangan matibay yung blood vessel. So the blood vessel contains elastic fiber. So yung arrangement ng elastic fiber sa aorta mo, it's in sheets, no? So makikita mo nakaparallel sila sa isa't isa para mas mataas yung strength niya compared to the one that is more haphazard. Okay? So, your elastic fibers when seen in tissue are usually interwoven with collagen fibers to limit distensibility and prevent tearing. So, syempre, gusto mo na didistend yung tissue at the same time, ayaw mo naman na sobra-sobrang pagiging distensible niya kasi pwedeng mapunit or masira. Okay? So, summary of what we discussed regarding the components of your connective tissue. Yeah, it's made up of your matrix fibers, your collagen fibers, collagen type 1, 2, 3 for collagen fibers, collagen type 3 for reticular fibers, and your elastic fibers made up of elastin and fibrillin. Then you have your ground substance, which is made up of interstitial fluid, plus the glycosaminoglycans, the glycoproteins, no? And then you have your cells, no? So different types of cells. You have your main cell, which is your fibroblast. You have your adipocytes. You have your macrophages, mast cells, as well as your wandering cells, yung leukocytes natin. Okay? So, now let's go to the second part of the lecture, which is the different types of connective tissue. Okay? So, sa different types of connective tissue, meron tayong actually uh, three different types, no? You have your embryonic, your connective tissue proper, and your specialized connective tissue. So, yung talagang connective tissue that will connect your different organs with each other is the one that is called connective tissue proper. Kasi nga, siya yung nag-connect, no? So, there are two types of connective tissue proper, your loose connective tissue and your dense connective tissue. Okay? So, uh, your dense connective tissue is subdivided into dense irregular and dense regular connective tissue. So, di-differentiate natin yan later on. We also have your embryonic. So, ibig sabihin, you see this early in life, yung ating mesenchymal tissue and your mucous connective tissue. And then we also have specialized connective tissue. We've already discussed this actually for the most part, your reticular and your adipose. And the others, we will discuss in the specific topics in which we will encounter them. Kasi mas maganda kung i-discuss natin sila in an organ system type of manner. Ito kasing iba, may kita mo sila all over the place. That's why we will discuss them all together. Para pag na-encounter natin sila later on, alam nyo na kung ano sila. Okay? So, this is the summary table that you will see also in your textbook, no? So, hindi ko na sinama yung other specialized connective tissue since C chapter kineme lang naman yung nasa baba dyan. Okay? So, let's go first to your connective tissue proper. So, ito yung talagang connective tissue proper kasi siya yung talagang nagko-connect ng different tissues to form your organs, no? So, the first one is your loose or your areolar connective tissue, no? So, ang pinagkaiban, kapag loose ang connective tissue, mas maraming ground substance. The more ground substance there is, the looser the connective tissue. The less fibers there are, the looser the connective tissue. Okay? So, pag mas maraming ground substance, mas konti ang fiber, mas loose. Okay? Mas konti ang ground substance, mas maraming fiber, mas dense. Okay? So, your loose connective tissue uh, uh, is actually relatively sparse as far as collagen fibers are concerned, and the ground substance is abundant. So, maraming ground substance, konti ang fiber, kaya siya tinawag na loose connective tissue. Sa loose connective tissue, there are different cell types that you can observe. Siyempre, meron tayo nung bida natin, si fibroblast, pero meron din tayo nung migrating cells natin, yung wandering cells natin, as well as the other cells we've discussed earlier, no? So, the predominant type of fiber you see in loose connective tissue are your collagen fibers, of course, and the common example is the on where you see your loose connective tissue is the lamina propria beneath the epithelia. Okay, so if you have your epithelium over here, meron kang cells, di ba? Sabi natin, epithelial cells are closely opposed to and adherent to one another. Nakalay sila on a basement membrane. The area beneath that is connective tissue. That's actually loose connective tissue. Nandun yung mga blood vessels, diba? In the loose connective tissue, you find your blood vessels. You find your, uh, uh, dun yung, you find that beneath the basement membrane. Okay? So, yung area beneath the basement membrane of your epithelial tissue is actually loose areolar connective tissue, which you call the lamina propria. Okay? You also see loose connective tissue in the epithelia of glands. So, as you can see here, may mga capillaries, kasi may mga blood vessels in the loose connective tissue, no? And there are also collagen fibers. So, yung mga kulay puti, those are actually collagen fibers. So, it went unstained in this specimen. And then there are also several different types of cells. So, meron kang adipocytes, meron kang eosinophils from the circulation, you have lymphocytes, you have neutrophils, no? So, there are different types of cells that you can see, and there are also fibroblasts, no? So, marami kang cell types na makikita in your loose areolar connective tissue. Okay? So, this one is a closer look, di ba? This one naman happens in the gut, no? So, gut is also epithelium, so nasa ilalim ng basement membrane. This is loose connective tissue. And then there are different types of cells. As you can see, meron tayong fibroblasts, you have your plasma cells, your eosinophils, etc. Okay? So, ang tatandaan mo dito, sa loose connective tissue, there is abundant ground substance, pero yung collagen fibers mo, konti lang. Okay? An example is your lamina propria. Okay? So, next. After your loose, syempre doon na tayo sa mas dense connective tissue. So, the denser connective tissue is your dense irregular connective tissue. So, your dense connective tissue is actually very similar to each other. Yung regular at irregular, similar sila. Ang pinagkaiba lang nila is the arrangement of fibers. Okay? So, dense irregular, the arrangement of fibers is randomly interwoven. In dense regular, the arrangement of fibers are parallel and dense. Okay, so dito muna tayo sa dense irregular CD. Ito yung visualization mo. As you can see, di ba? The collagen fibers are more numerous compared to this previous picture, di ba? Sa loose, ganyan lang kakonti yung collagen fibers mo. Pagdating mo sa dense regular, ang dami mo ng collagen fibers. So, syempre, dahil mas maraming fibers, there is less space for ground substance to take up, no? At the same time, makikita mo, hindi na ganun kadami yung other types of cells. Mostly, what you see are your fibroblasts. Oh, di ba? So, di ba? Puro fibroblasts lang yung nakikita mo. Okay? So, the predominant cell in your dense irregular connective tissue are your fibroblasts, pero hindi sila ganun kadami. There's also sparse. And the predominant type of fiber that you see in your dense irregular tissue is your collagen type 1. Okay? So, next. So where do you see this example, an example of this tissue? You see this in the dermis of the skin, no? 'Di ba? Sa skin natin, the uppermost layer of your skin, or epidermis, is stratified squamous, keratinized epithelium, no? So ilalim ng epithelium mo, you have your dermis. So your dermis is made up of dense, irregular connective tissue. Okay? So ganito din yung itsura niya, no? You see, in dense irregular connective tissue, you see collagen fibers, you see fibroblasts. Okay? So, yun yung itsura nito. Okay? So, doon naman tayo sa dense regular connective tissue. Same din yung components niya. You see few fibroblasts, you see few ground substance. Ang pinagkaiba lang is the arrangement of fibers, no? In dense irregular, marami ding collagen, pero haphazard, random lang in yung interweaving ng fibers niya. Unlike your dense regular connective tissue, where it is regularly arranged, the fibers are in parallel with each other. Kaya itong dense regular connective tissue, siya yung pinakamataas ang tensile strength. Kasi nga, well-arranged yung connective tissue, no? So where do you see this dense regular connective tissue? You see this in ligaments, your tendons, and your aponeurosis. So itong aponeurosis are basically parang wider version siya ng yung ligaments and tendons. Okay? So, ano nakikita sa dense regular connective tissue? You also see fibroblasts, your collagen fibers that are arranged in parallel with each other, no? So, similar lang din siya doon sa dense regular CT. Ang pinagkaiba lang talaga nila is yung arrangement. Okay? So, tapos tayo sa connective tissue proper, di ba? So, we're done with this part. Now, let's go to the embryonic tissue. So, your embryonic connective tissue, there are two types. So, for embryonic connective tissue, the first one is your mesenchymal cells or your mesenchyme, no? So, sabi natin, all of your connective tissue is derived from the second germ cell layer, yung tinatawag nating mesoderm. So, the cells from the mesoderm actually migrate all over the body and form your mesenchyme or your mesenchymal tissue. Yung mesenchymal tissue mo actually is the primitive form of connective tissue from which all connective tissues are derived from. So, itong mesenchymal tissue mo, pwede siyang mag-differentiate into different cell types, no? Into mature forms of connective tissue. So, anong itsura nitong mesenchymal cells? They are usually irregular or fusiform or star or stellate shaped cells. Okay? Okay? So, ganyan yung itsura niya. Ito nga, ito, fusiform to. Okay? So, meron din tayong mga stellate dyan. So, depende. Iba-iba yung shape niya, no? So, with delicate branching cytoplasmic extensions, no? And if you observe the nuclei, the nucleus is large with prominent nucleoli. Ayan, no? So, nucleus and then may nucleoli siya. Okay, so, itong mesenchymal tissue is the embryonic tissue from which all of your connective tissues are derived. Okay? So, ito yung primitive or siya yung precursor ng actual connective tissue natin, ng precursor ng fibroblasts natin. Before your fibroblasts, there was mesenchyme. Before your mesenchyme, there was mesoderm. Okay? So next, you have your mucoid or your mucous connective tissue. So your mucoid or mucous connective tissue, the famous example for this one is your Wharton's jelly. So your Wharton's jelly is a substance seen in the fetal umbilical cord. So kunyari nanganak na si mother, nakakabit sa baby, nakakabit sa nanay. So gugupitin yung umbilical cord. Pag sinilip mo yung umbilical cord cross-section, ganito yung itsura niya. Okay? So, may veins, may arteries. Yung pagitan ng mga blood vessels mo, yun yung Wharton's jelly. Okay? You see this in the umbilical cord. So what does the Wharton's jelly do? It supports and cushions the umbilical arteries and vein. No? So it supports and cushions large blood vessels. Okay? So anong structure nitong Wharton's jelly nito? It's made up of large fibroblasts. So makikita mo naman yung mga nucleus ng mga fibroblasts sa tissue. So these are Wharton's jelly. Ito parehas na example. No? Fibroblasts surrounded by a large amount of very loose extracellular matrix that is rich in hyaluronan or hyaluronic acid. Kaya siya naging mucoid. Okay? Kasi marami siyang ECM that contains glycosaminoglycans. Okay? So, yung structure ng mucoid connective tissue actually resembles your mesenchyme, no? Kapag sinilip mo yung structure na minsan mukhang fusiform, minsan may mukhang stellate. Pero, remember that this stage does not differentiate. Diba? Sabi natin, your mesenchymal cells can differentiate into more mature forms of connective tissue. Dito sa mucoid, hanggang dyan na lang yung stage na. Okay? And the example that you have to remember at all costs is your Wharton's jelly. Okay? In the umbilical cord. So next, doon na tayo sa specialized connective tissue. So ito naman, na-discuss na natin siya mainly kasi diniscuss na natin siya under the fibers and your cells of your connective tissue. No, you have your reticular connective tissue and then your adipose tissue. So yung reticular CT na-discuss naman natin na it's made up of collagen type 3 and this uh, with attached, and it's a network of collagen type 3 fibers with attached fibroblasts. So, kung kanina collagen type 3 fibers, when we're discussing the fibers lang, pag sinamahan mo na siya ng reticular ng fibroblasts, you now make your tissue. So, the reticular connective tissue is seen in lymphoid organs, your bone marrow, your liver, and your pancreas. No? So, sinabi na rin natin kanina, di ba? Reticular fibers are gyrophilic. They are uh, kailangan mo ng silver stain in order to visualize them. Okay? So, tandaan, your reticular connective tissue is found in lymphoid organs. No? So, yung mga lymph nodes natin, except for your thymus. No? Okay? So, next. So, you have your adipose tissue. As we mentioned, your signet ring cells, di ba? Meron kang large fat droplet in the middle. You have you have your peripherally located nucleus that was pushed aside by the large fat droplet, as well as the of thin peripheral rim of cytoplasm. No, so adipose tissue, as we mentioned, serves for fat storage. No, kasi yung fat is the storage form of energy. Okay. So, tapos na tayo dun sa different types of connective tissue. As we mentioned, your connective tissue proper, there are two types. You have your loose connective tissue and your dense connective tissue. So sa connective tissue proper, the more ground substance there is, and the less fibers there are, mas loose yung tissue. Pag mas maraming fibers, mas konti yung ground substance, mas dense yung tissue. So the loose ZT is the one that has lots of ground substance and has different types of cells. No, your dense CT naman is divided into two, your regular and your irregular. The regular one and irregular one, parehas lang sila ng components, no? Collagen fibers. Ang predominant fibroblasts are the predominant cell. Ang pinagkaiba lang nila is the arrangement, no? For dense irregular, more of haphazard, randomly interwoven yung fibers niya. In dense regular, it's more of parallel and dense, no? In embryon, and then you have your embryonic connective tissue, you have your mesenchymal cells. So your mesenchyme connective tissue mo uh, uh, is the precursor for your fibroblasts, no? So, galing siya from the second germ layer. So, galing siya sa mesoderm, no? And then you have your mucous connective tissue, your mucous or your mucoid connective tissue, which is seen in your Wharton's jelly, no? It serves as protection for your large blood vessels. And then you have your specialized connective tissue, two of which we've already discussed. There are gyrophilic reticular connective tissue that is found in your lymph nodes. And then your adipose tissue, your signet ring cells that serve as storage of fat. Okay? So, itong other connective tissues, we will discuss with their respective topics kapag napuntan tayo sa topic ng blood, sa topic ng musculoskeletal system, at lymphatics, etc. Okay? So, these are my references and that's the end of the lecture. Okay? So, questions? So for the laboratory activity, I think that's been uploaded, pero double check ko na lang din. If not, i-upload ko. It's regarding your connective tissue, no? So you just have to draw uh, yung different types of connective tissue na nakasulat doon. And then, you describe kung ano yung key points, kung konti yung ground substance niya, kung marami ba siyang fibers, kung anong klaseng arrangement ng fibers in the description. And then, you give an example for each type of connective tissue. So, kahit isang example lang, okay na yun. Parehas lang yung points kahit gawin mo pang lima yan. Okay? And then, of course, deadline is next week. And then, we'll also have a quiz on connective tissue next week. Questions? If wala na, then thank you so much for listening and have a nice day.